Guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the new gunship for the Mi8 Hind. Yesterday's video, we talked about the new gunship for the Huey. As you guys can see, there's a couple sitting here already. And we talked about these yesterday, so we're not going to talk about those. We are going to talk about this magnificent looking beast, and that is the Mi8 Hind. This is something the Hind desperately needed, and I feel like this will actually make the Hind actually want to be flyable, in my opinion. But before we go into that, I do want to take a few minutes here to just teleport myself over here and showcase these helis to you guys, because these, and it did this again, this damn game, I swear. But I want to showcase these just because these are going to be the new standard spawn helis at bases now for when the games first start. And so, as you guys can see here, they have one Huey rendition, which is, this is, I believe, supposed to be classified as a medical Huey. It's got like the red and white, so we can see here if we open it up. Same interior as the regular military Huey. It's got the same cockpit interior as well. So there's not much different about it compared to the regular military Huey, but that is the new Huey that is going to be at bases now when you spawn in. So just like before, how if you went to like the air base, there was a military gunship Huey, which was the M60 Huey. It'll be now this instead, I believe. The airport's the only one I don't know. I know regular bases have all been changed to either this Huey or one of these M8s. They've actually added two M8s now in the game that are civilian. You guys can see here's a blue and a red one. And again, just like the Huey, they are the exact same thing as the standard. Is there not a way? There it is. The exact same as the regular Mi8 Hind, as well as they also can carry up to 1,000 storage, so they are still very, very good. I was flying one of these yesterday for a little bit. The M8s do feel a little worse to land now, but one thing you're going to see going forward in this video is that the M8s actually do feel quicker, and they feel way more nimble in the air compared to what they were prior to this update. So that's something that is interesting, I guess. I mean, they're not like insanely better. The Huey is still phenomenally better, and I think in dogfights, the Huey is still going to be absolutely devastating to M8s, especially non-rocket M8s. Now, these M8s, what I'm going to talk about in a second, have one ability with their rockets that makes them absolutely a nightmare to go against if they're fighting head-on with you, or even if they're not fighting head-on with you and they're just fighting, they're kind of like following you. There's going to be something that's going to become very obnoxious to fight against, but they are looking like they might be very decent compared to what the M8 was before. So without further ado, let's hop right into the M8. So same with the Huey. The M8 itself has not changed. It is still the exact same aircraft as it was before. Also, just a side note, since I'm here, for the people that are excited, that are flying, that are experiencing the same glitch that I'm experiencing, when the camera locks like this, or like, you know, it gets locked like up in the sky sometimes, all you have to do to fix it for this update right now in order to be able to land in third person is just hold the look around button, the one that you look around, the free look, hold it and drag it to the spot you want it, and then just let it go. It'll lock itself, and that way you can still land like usual. Just don't mess with it too much, or you have to relock it. Now, in the air, if you're not landing, it's not too bad to fix this camera because, you know, you're in the sky, so if you have a little bit of time to fix the camera, or you could just fly in first person. But if you are trying to land in third, you can fix it. You just have to manually lock it in the position that you want it locked in. So let's go to first person. In first person, you can actually see that we have the optical thing. I forget what it's called. There's like the bionicle zoom or whatever it is, that is already placed, is actually a hard place for you. Now this one is not as good as the Huey. The Huey is like directly in front of you. It's kind of perfect. And I got out because I'm an idiot. I didn't mean to hit that button. Mega lols. But you can in the Huey you can see things pretty relatively easy with that on. But this one seems to be off-centered, so you kind of have to hold R1 to kind of look straight on with it. But I mean, it's not terrible. You can still use. I was flying around testing it out before the video, and I had no issues hitting targets with this. But it does make it a little more interesting to hit your targets. But otherwise, that is pretty much it. You can have, this one has a sun filter, which I think is pretty cool. The Huey does not have a sun filter. But otherwise, all your other controls are the exact same. You got your engine starts, all that type of stuff, your lights. Down here, you got your other lights. Then you got your front gunner that's right here, and then your back buttons. I'm still looking for, I believe it should be somewhere right here. That is yeah, right here. And then here is the weapon selection screen where you can fire, you can select either both sides, one side or the other, and you can also set the quantity of rockets that you'll be firing. So you can you can have 4, 8, or 16 rockets. There are 16 on each side, so if you have a ripple of quantity of 16, you will fire all 32 rockets at a single shot. That is what we're going to do this video because I think that is the coolest looking one, and I have a feeling that is going to be a huge, huge part of people that are using the Huey, or not the Huey, the M8. I feel like that's what they're going to do a lot of times because this is going to do a lot of rockets downrange very, very quickly. So if you're trying to level a base or level a town, this will be absolutely devastating to the ground troops. So we gotta take off, and just like the Huey, it's same thing as the regular one, except it just has rockets, so there's no difference in speed. But I do think the M8s overall have been increased in their speed. Even their takeoff time is a little quicker than it was before, which is great. I like to see that the M8 is being buffed a little bit because it does feel like it's a shitty helicopter in comparison to its counterparts. But I'm just glad to see that it's been given a little bit of love because it makes it a little more usable. So we're gonna go for this barn over here, and we're just going to lay it out. And that is all 16 rockets. Now this was an HE version, I believe. I think when I spawned this one on the Game Master, this was an HE version of the M8. So be aware of that. The HEDP is going to have a little bit different of effect during explosions, but not too much. And that's pretty much it with the Hind. It otherwise controls the same, looks the same, acts the same. This one obviously has its 2 gunner positions, but those are the exact same. Those have not changed. So there's really not all that much difference with them. But I will say that in terms of gun shipping and actually being doing what is intended for gun shipping, I do personally feel like the Huey is still better for its general purposes of trying to be a gunship heli specifically. I think it does a better job at it. But the Hind definitely feels more intimidating when you see it down in the air. And as an American, it does make a little more interesting for air-to-air combat. So we'll have to wait and see going forward how useful this thing really is. Because of those rockets being such a large amount for the rockets, it is a huge thing because you're going to be blowing through your rockets very, very quickly. The 4 seems to be probably what most people will do going forward. That makes the most sense because 4, you have 16 rockets on each side, so you're going to have a lot more rockets to fire a lot more often. But I definitely think that the M8 is going to be used more for this rapid, just level a tire town and then dip out of there. Meanwhile, this Huey is better for more direct targets. I know last night I was doing a lot of direct shots on like command tents and respawn beacons for players that needed those places knocked down with enemies that are camping. So I just think it's going to really depend on the circumstances. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the Mi8 gunship breakdown. Again, same thing as the regular M8, so there's really not a whole lot to break down. But yeah, and we also have the civilian helicopters as well, which I think is pretty cool. I think it's nice that we have some other options as well. And it's going to make knowing if those helicopters are friendlies or not very easy because we're going to be able to keep track of those civilian helicopters, helis, a lot easier than the military ones. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.